third right behind him. There's still 45 to go. We got plenty of time, dude. Caution, 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 caution. Wave him off, wave him off, wave him off, wave him off.
Pensacola, Georgia. 24, down flag number 2, driver of the number 54 C, Seth Christensen.
Holy shit, these guys are aggressive. Oh, big wreck. Holy cow, big wreck. Keep coming, keep coming.
Drivers, start your race.
It's already a dream come true just because this was the race that I sat at home watching a couple years ago, and you know, even longer than I can remember I've been watching this race. And a lot of my buddies that come through the ranks and you know, ran the flake, you know, some have won the flake, and they go on to be in NASCAR. So it's pretty cool stepping stone. You know, you don't have to win to be recognized as a good driver here. You know, I think that we have a very good shot at doing something good here. So it just means a ton just to be able to even participate in this race, and hopefully we can put on a show while we're at it. Everybody knows about the Snowball Derby. I mean, anyone in the racing world that cares about racing is gonna know what you're talking about, and they're gonna know the drivers that are racing, and they know how big of a deal it is, period. So it's really important to know, to show out here and show what you're capable of, and just, you know, put on a good performance and try and represent yourself well and your team well and everybody around. Just because you never know who's watching. You know, this race is so nationally recognized by, you know, grassroots community and NASCAR racing in general that you never know who's watching. So it's really important to just carry yourself as well as possible, and, you know, just try and represent yourself the best way possible.
Supers have to have their air cleaner in tomorrow. No boxes, no bags, anything like that by 11 o'clock.
Well, you know, it's the 57th running, so, you know, a long time ago they started running here on, I believe it was open wheel cars, correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, it was just a lot of NASCAR people come through here. A lot of big name people have won this race and have done well and use that as a stepping stone to carry themselves on to the next level. So, you know, this is our Super Bowl. The grassroots community. This is the Super Bowl of late model racing, and you know, to come here and do well isn't easy. You know, Jake came here last year and struggled and ultimately didn't make the race, but I mean, we all know Jake's a great driver. You know, he won the All-American 400 a couple weeks ago, and you know, it takes everything to go right to win this race. Whether it's the flake, the derby, anything, you just have to be on your A game. Your crew has to be on their A game. Your luck has to go your way, and you just have to be perfect. I mean, there's one mistake and you could lose it all. Oh man, the fun side to me is getting that green flag dropped. You know, Saturday night we'll be able to give it all we got. You know, hopefully we can qualify on the pole, if not the front row. I know we have a really good qualifying piece here. This car has been always very good for qualifying, no matter where we go. So if we can just qualify up front, which is the task itself, and then comes the fun part of starting on the pole or front row of the Snowflake 100. Hey guys, we just got off the track here for Pro 8 model practice. We got 2 sessions in. I think we learned a little bit about the new tire. Went out on old tires first time, set some pretty good laps down and got a good feel for the track, and put new tires on, mocked up, went out, and really wasn't as fast as we would like to be. We learned a lot, which is a good thing. You know, a lot of people are struggling on this tire, and I feel like we're not too far off, but there's definitely some work we have to do. But I know these guys will do a great job figuring it out and working me through the process here. So hopefully it goes well as I think it will. You know, racing is just one of those sports where anything can happen, and hopefully everything goes great. So later today we'll run the pro truck with CB Partners at FR8 Performance. Hopefully that goes well too. We have practice, qualifying, and race tonight. I think driver's meeting's at 4 for that class, and we'll go through tech and practice, qualifying, and race tonight. A couple years ago, I ran an 8-truck race here during the Derby, and we did very good. We started second and ended up finishing third after tech there. But I kind of feel pretty robbed after that. You know, the truck that ended up winning the race wasn't in, I guess, the parameters of legal. So they qualified on the pole and we qualified second. So I kind of feel a little cheated out after that. So you know, going into tonight, it's kind of a big redemption race. Hopefully we can make it happen and, you know, get our get back from 2022. And, you know, there's a lot of differences between this and the pro car. Pro cars are a lot more of a dart than the trucks. Whether you have an old style or a new style front nose, it's really big in the aero game. You get behind someone, you kind of lose a lot of air. In the pro cars, you lose a little bit, but big track like this, there's still stuff that you can notice all around the track, off 4, going into 1, and basically everywhere. But truck's a little more important when it comes to the air game. Obviously, you're fighting for grit, but it's got its own challenges. In my opinion, the truck's a lot more fun to drive. It's just big, heavy boats. You're just kind of throwing it around the track, and the pro is super fun too. I love it. It's just you got to be very perfect in the pro stuff. There's no room for error in trucks. You can just kind of throw around and just have fun. So we'll go into tonight with a little bit of redemption on our minds, and hopefully come out with the win this year.
Up in the grass, Georgia. Swinging forward, outside number 2, driver of the number 54 C is Seth Christensen.
So we got 5th after the race. You know, it was a great run. Very eventful. You know, a lot of wrecks, a lot of crazy people out there, and you know, these guys are super aggressive, and you know, it was just a blast to get around with those guys. You know, and it's super cool. I kind of wish we placed a little bit better, but you know, top 5 really isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things. You know, I'm not used to this style clutch. You know, I'm only used to just pushing the clutch in a little bit, but you got to go a whole throw. And you know, the transmission's a little different too, so just getting used to all the feelings and everything, and like what to and not feel was pretty important there to learn, especially about right around the halfway mark where we started getting really aggressive on restarts. A lot of red flags. You know, usually you don't have a lot of cautions or red flags like that for a truck race. The last time I ran was just green flag the entire time, so a lot different than what I was used to, but it was cool to learn and go back and see those guys in action again. And, you know, Grant and all the other guys are such good drivers, and it was really cool to race with them again. You know, we got involved in some of those wrecks there. You know, I think one of the cars got a nose ahead of me, and I guess tried to clear themselves, and unfortunately they ended up wrecking. You know, I hate to see that, especially off of my nose, but glad to see that he walked out okay. And you know, it's a hard hit. You know, this place are going pretty fast for a pro truck, and you know, just unfortunate we had to tear up a lot of trucks. But man, it was one heck of a race, and I'm really just glad that we're in one piece. The killer is whenever he came across my nose there and knocked my toe out. So whenever your toe's out of alignment, it's just, you're just kind of along for the ride at that point. There's nothing you can really do to fix that other than your line and your braking points a little bit here and there. But 1 and 2 is already so technical, and you can't change that very much over the course of a run. But you know, 3 and 4, we got to adjust a little bit based off of that. And trying to make a move on Grant Thompson there at the end, but just couldn't make it happen. You know, just damage was a little too much there at the end to make a good move and clean move on him. But you know, congratulations to Caden Honeycutt on the win there. I know he finished second, but got the win in tech. You know, the whole debacle in tech. You know, Steven Davis won, and I guess something about brake ducts or blowers. You know, not a lot of run blowers. And also some other stuff that they were upset about too. But you know, congratulations to Caden for running me clean and having a great race. And you know, we were 3 wide there with about 4 to go, I feel like, and Caden got the best end of all of that and just got around everybody and got a second there. And you know, it was really cool running with those guys again, and hopefully I get to do that a lot more.
What do you think caused some of these wrecks?
A lot of just aggressiveness. You know, a lot of guys just kind of making moves that really, in my opinion, should not have been made. A lot of people just kind of being impatient. You know, it feels pretty good to go back to the pro stuff because everyone's kind of a little more patient. You know, these guys were they took every opportunity they had, whether it was there or not. You know, I'm just super glad the 56 walked away from such a big hit there, and you know, it just kind of suffered from other people's mistakes there. When they come down and knock my toe out, it just was kind of riding along there, and couldn't really do much after that. But overall, a great team, and you know, Alex did a great job on getting the car where it was supposed to be, and just kind of got the bad end of things there. You know, Jimmy does a lot for me and invests a lot in me, and you know, just very thankful to have them by my side. So the first time out on the track today, Friday morning, feels pretty good. We're pretty consistent with what we have right now. You know, obviously the tire's a little bit different. I know I keep saying that, but it's a big deal. Just trying to figure out what this tire is going to do in a longer run. And it seems like it's going to grow a little bit on the freer side, so that's good. It's been the trend of our car since the beginning of this year. So hopefully we can just, like I said in the interview for Flo, just keep making chops at it, and I know these guys will help me figure it out quick. So off of 4, I got in the throttle a little hard, a little quick there, and I guess they caught it on camera and got added to the oh crap moment. So it was pretty funny for them to come up and make a big deal out of that. But I had a couple of them. You know, this tire is a little bit different. Just trying to figure out what's the edge of the car there, or edge of the grip point there. So we'll just keep trying to make progress as much as we can. I think we're just going to keep tightening it up, to be honest. Just trying to take a little bit of drive and put it back into the car while we were trying to take drive out of the car, just to help it turn a little bit. So I think being a little tight is okay, especially right now when the sun's out. Track's still cold, but you can still get that greasy feeling from the sun being out. So when the sun goes down, I think we're going to be in a whole different ball game here. I've been with Freight Racing for, this will be my first complete year with Freight Racing. You know, I was with Ricky Turner last year, but wasn't really under the Freight Racing banner. It was just kind of a rent-to-ride deal with Freight Auctions, which is a different wholesale company.
Really excited. I mean, obviously Derby week's a big week for the pros and the supers. Excited to see Jake's locked himself in last night. But when it comes to Seth and what we're trying to accomplish with our driver development in these pro cars, couldn't be more excited with what I'm seeing out of him this season. And ultimately, this is our goal, is to come win this Snowflake 100. We had a really good Alab Turner Pro Series championship run this summer. He won 2 of those races, finished 3rd in the 4th, and we just had a bad luck day on that 4th race that ultimately kept us from winning that championship and getting the provisional. The great thing about that is we weren't racing for provisionals. We were wanting that championship, but really it was a test session for us to get him out here and be competitive in the Snowflake. And after today's mock run this morning, and seeing the speed he had, hearing the ability he thinks he has to get a little bit more out of it come race time, very excited. I mean, the amount of growth and development we've seen in Seth in just this last 2 seasons is tremendous. Can't credit the kid enough for his work ethic, obviously on track, but the time he spends with Ricky and Will in the shop, really understanding how these cars are put together and learning what it takes to make him go fast, ultimately results in better performance on the track. And again, can't say enough about Seth and how happy we are with what he's been able to accomplish for our team and really show what we're about in driver development. Very excited to see what he can do next year in super late model stuff.
I've known Seth through his dad, Patrick. I actually remember when he was born. And they used to come to my shop and hang out and watch me build and work on the race cars. And he always showed an interest, climbing around on the trailers and whatnot. Saw him start off in the quarter midgets. It's unbelievable. I knew right off the bat the kid had something. And he's proving that today as well. But just a really good kid, good family. I'm proud to see what the sponsor's been able to help do, get him in these fine race cars. And no Ricky, really good too, so I was glad to see them pair up, and that works out really well. But I think the kid has a bright future. I think the sky's the limit, and I'm pulling for him. I hope he can get on up into the upper ranks, and I think he's worked hard to get there.
So Jake's been a huge mentor, mainly because he's the one with the most recent experience. You know, Chase has a lot of experience, and he's raced for a lot of years with Ricky. You know, 2013 was a great year for him. He won the Snowball Derby, won the Winchester 400, I believe the All-American 400 in 2014 or 13, I can't remember. But anyways, there's just a long list of success stories with Chase. And you know, those cars are a little bit different than they are now. You know, rear end stuff is a little bit different, Gleasons versus Spools. So the way you drive the cars are a little bit different now. And Jake kind of has the experience of both parties there. You know, Jake's been a great encourager. He's very understanding of what I'm feeling, and he's a really good coach as far as the late model stuff. And you know, I feel like he does a great job, and he's just a great guy. I feel like the biggest advantage that Freight has is experience. You know, you can't gain experience without learning. You know, Ricky's been through a lot of learning in his career, and he's had a lot of success as well. You know, 2002 was a great year for Ricky. He won the Snowball Derby, for crying out loud. You know, that's something that a lot of these guys dream of doing, and a lot of guys are gonna try to do tonight. So, you know, and Will's been around for a long time, and so has everyone else. And you know, it's been a big deal to everybody, and everybody else being involved in all that. My dad spends every dollar he makes on me and my brother racing, and my mom is just a warrior for surviving all of that. You know, we always make jokes about putting a pool in the backyard, and she's like, "Oh, that's a pool, that's a pool," and it's like, you know, they've been huge supporters of me and my brother. And, you know, my brother's been a huge supporter of me, and I feel like it's the same vice versa. And you know, we all try to support each other in what we love, and you know, just, and my entire family, my grandparents, my Mimi, everybody that just gives me the opportunity to come do this. I love every bit of it. Well, racing for Freight Racing is such a huge stepping stone in my life. You know, coming from the truck stuff and other smaller cars, have just been, you know, it's been really cool to race those. But you know, I never really got that experience with good equipment and good coaching and good everything. Really, you know, sometimes you just lack that in some other programs. But you know, Freight Racing, I feel like, is just this perfect mix. You know, you don't really want to go run for the huge teams, the huge empires sometimes, and you know, cost can be a part of that. But you know, Freight Racing makes it very affordable for me and my parents to go race, and you know, as well as Jake and Chase, and helps them out as far as coming down and having fun and learning some stuff along the way. So ultimately it means a ton, just that Matt Erickson and Marcus Varela have given me this opportunity to make this happen. And what fuels me in racing is just the competitiveness. I hate being second. I hate being anything other than winning. So, you know, being with Ricky just makes that so much easier. And, you know, Matt and Marcus, that give me that stepping stone and that opportunity to come have fun with Ricky. And, you know, it's not just about having fun, it's about being competitive too, and also learning about what you're doing on the car. And, you know, it's like kind of the same deal as like working at the shop. Just learning at the car, or what the car does, what certain things do to the car. And I love that. I love everything about race cars in general. I love cars. And, man, you know, I'm just so thankful for these guys, everybody involved. You know, we have all of our ups and downs together, but you know, at the end of the day, these guys are the ones that make it possible for me to fulfill my dream. And to be involved with Jake and Chase and everyone that just makes that so much easier, it just, I can't thank them enough.
Excellent. Do you see yourself moving on to the pros, like NASCAR and all of that?
You know,
That's the dream. Right?
Yeah, it's the dream. So I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it. You know, you got to have the experience. A lot of people make the big jump too early, and kind of ruins their career, right? Because they go on and they look like a turd, and no one wants to work with them anymore. So, you know, it's just, you got to find the right opportunity. You got to be a young guy, and I feel like the older you get, the harder it's going to be for someone to want to invest in you. So it's, you know, just finding the right time to want to move up. And, you know, hopefully we find that opportunity. You know, funding's a big part of it. And, you know, we don't really come from funding. We got to find it on our own. So that just makes it a little bit harder, but, you know, obstacles are just obstacles meant to be broken.
Race. Love to have you there for it. Give a great
Yeah, we're gonna wait till the track. Yeah, it was not good. You know, I can't believe saying that a top 10 isn't good at the Derby, but you know, we got slower from where we were in our mock run, which is ridiculous. I kind of just beat myself there. You know, you're quick in a mock run when you arc it out really wide here going into one, and I just got nervous about it, so I made an arrow and played myself there a little bit. Got high off too, and just sitting there spinning tires for days. But I know we have a good long run car. I just you can't start deep in the field and win the race here, and you can't count on yellows to help you out either. You know, the good thing is you're usually not in the car long enough during these cold days for it to become super hot. You know, after about 15, 20 laps is when you start sweating there, especially on a long run. You know, at night these cars work really hard, they get really hot. But, you know, I'm just trying to focus really. You know, pressure's pretty big coming into this race, whether people say it is or isn't. You know, Mr. Matt has invested a lot into me and my brother's career, so I don't want to say I kind of let him down there for that qualifying attempt, but kind of isn't as great as we hoped it would be. So, you know, it was pretty stressful coming out of that with a letdown attitude there, but you know, I think we're gonna be okay. I just need to be on the good end of every single event that happens there and just hope for the best. I think the biggest thing that I like to think of is how your first start's gonna go. Just visualizing that perfect shift there into high gear, but you know, we're kind of just taking it one at a time. You know, during qualifying, you don't really think of the race. You just think of setting that perfect lap there, and kind of blew it there in qualifying. So hopefully we can just make up for what we didn't do there in qualifying going into this 100-lap feature. And you know, it's just really kind of trying to prepare for the long run. You know, I think there'll be a bunch of cautions early on with this field, but hopefully we get it cleaned up by about halfway mark and we get to do some green flag laps. You know, we've been really good as far as the long run stuff goes. So hopefully that goes in our favor and we can come off with the win.
From Alan Jordan, the most famous ones in motorsports. Ivor, start your
5 away in the box. Green, green. Good job here. There's a big hole behind him if you need it. Right here. Good job. Yeah, the dude just ran into me there. Yeah, he'll be alright. Whatever you did on that, restart right there, dude, is where it's at. Yeah, I just had to roll it way faster than everyone else there. Holy shit, these guys are aggressive. Big wreck, holy cow, big wreck, keep coming, keep coming. We're gonna red flag it, we're gonna red flag it. No need to push it. Good job, dude. V3. Oh, what a race. Thank you, guys. Drinking.
I finished third in my first Snowflake 100. Man, just feeling so awesome, feeling great. You know, coming from 8th is a tough task here, even at Pensacola. You know, we got a lot of cautions, a lot of red flags, a lot more than we probably should have had. Wasn't much better than the truck race, but man, I had such a blast coming through the field there, and battling side by side there. It was just awesome. Hopefully I get to do that a lot more next year at the Super guys. But man, just what a blast. My first flake, just couldn't be happier than that. You know, to finish second to 2 guys who have won more races than I've even been around for, it's a win itself. So just super thankful for the freight racing program and everybody that helps make this possible. I just couldn't have done it without anybody.
What are you gonna do now, bro? How are you gonna celebrate?
Oh, I don't know. You know, we're probably gonna go eat dinner somewhere nice. You know, McGuire's is a pretty good spot. So I don't know. Whatever Ricky really wants to do. He's kind of a boss man when it comes to dinner plans.